Hi, boys and girls. Welcome back to remote instruction. You're in the first grade classroom today. I came back to school for this last one. So we have one more week of school to go. So boys and girls, finish strong and do your work every day. And thank you, Calliope and Noah, for sending me some pictures again. And moms, I want to remind you or tell you about that in 2 weeks, on our last Zoom meeting on May 13th, we're going to have a virtual tea party. So have your favorite cup and your favorite drink in the cup for you and your son or daughter. And also have like dessert or muffins or donuts or something to enjoy while we're having our last Zoom meeting together. So boys and girls, the new scripture this week is from Psalm 139, verse 14, and it says, "I will praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are your works, and that my soul knows very well." So Psalm 139, verse 14 this week. What, Mr. Mueller? There's somebody behind me? Really? I thought I was alone in here. Ah! It's Jack Skellington came to see us. Whoa, we are fearfully and wonderfully made, aren't we? So boys and girls, this week I believe in your science book you're going to finish up by learning more about the skeleton, right? And did you know that we have 206 bones that make up our skeleton? But when you were a baby, you had 300 some bones. Now what happened to some of them? Well, some of the bones fused or joined together to make less bones or come together as one bone. So now, as an adult, I have about 206, but you still are growing, so you maybe have more bones in your body than I do. So why did God give us a skeleton? Well, if he didn't, we would be like this. This one has no bones in there, and it would be just a blob, right? We'd be a blob. But we have shape and form. And also, God gave us a skeleton to help us move, right? So we can exercise and play and have fun and enjoy life. He also gave us bones because the bones are what produce the new blood cells for us. So there are many good reasons why we have a skeleton. So let's label some parts of Jack this morning. Up here, we have the skull. So I'm going to put the word skull up there, and the skull has the brain inside, so it's protecting the brain. Just like when you wear a helmet when you're riding your bike or riding your scooter or skateboard, the helmet protects your brain. Well, the skull bone protects your brain too. Then we have the rib cage right here. So I'm going to put rib cage. You can feel that bone as I talk about it. Feel your ribs. The ribs are protecting your lungs that are on both sides, and also your heart is underneath your rib cage. So wasn't God smart the way he designed our body? Then these two big bones on the side are called the hip bone, or this whole area is called the pelvis. So we're going to label that. Except I lost my tape, so I'm going to grab a piece of tape and put hip bone right there. Now, you probably never heard of this bone. It's called the femur. We have two femurs. And the femurs are this big bone connected to the hip bone and the knee bone. And it's the largest bone in our body, the femur. So maybe you can find your femur and see if you can feel it underneath your muscles. This is a fun word, phalanges. Now the phalanges are the finger bones. So you have phalanges on both hands. That PH says the F sound, phalanges. And the phalanges are also the bones in your feet. Your toes are also called phalanges. So we got Jack labeled pretty good. Let's do one more bone today. Stapes. Guess what? I can't see it because it's the smallest bone in our body, and it's about that size right there, the size of a grain of wheat or rice. And it's inside of our ear, so we can't really see it. It's called the stapes. Now, I didn't label all the bones, I just labeled some of the bones. If you became a doctor or nurse, you would have to memorize all 300 bones. That would be hard, wouldn't it? Now, let's talk about how do we keep these bones and muscles healthy. Oh, yes. Mr. Mueller said, turn Jack around here so they can see the back of him. Here we have his backbone, or vertebrae, and we have a lot of them, and you see each one can be separated like a hinge bone, and that's why you can bend over and pick things up, because God made the bones so they can bend at the joints. So I'm going to turn Jack around again. And we talked about joints a little bit on our Zoom meeting the other day. Joints are where two bones meet together. Now we have some joints that are called hinge joints, like the one in your elbow and in your fingers. Those can open and close like a door. So right here we have a hinge joint. The other kind is called the ball and socket joints, and that would be where your shoulders come together here. You can see that that's kind of round like a ball. So our shoulder bones are ball and socket, and also our where the femur is connected to the hip bone, that is also a ball and socket joint. Now, remember, boys and girls, seeing this chart this year, the pyramid of how to stay healthy and grow? Well, for our bones, we need a lot of food from the milk group, especially you. Your bones are still growing a lot. So you need to drink lots of milk, eat some ice cream, cheese, cottage cheese, or yogurt. For your muscles, the soft tissue connected to your bones, you need a lot of food from the meat bean group. You need some protein. So make sure you eat those eggs and hamburgers and all the other kinds of meat that your mom makes for you. I'd also like to encourage you to find a book or go online, Google, and see if you can find a book that tells you more about bones and the human body. So remember, boys and girls, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. Maybe this week, oh, I forgot. We also keep our bones healthy by exercising. So when you run and swim and ride your bike and go on walks, you are also helping your bones when you're exercising. So maybe you can send me a video this week of you doing something to keep your bones and muscles healthy. So remember, boys and girls, you are fearfully and wonderfully made by God. See you next time. Bye-bye.